Well, everybody knows that WABC is a supporter of the NYPD, and a very interesting month this month. And with us this morning is Susan Birnbaum, who's the president and CEO of the New York City Police Foundation, and also Mary Murphy, who is a veteran TV producer and made a documentary about a great hero cop. Stephen McDonald was shot July 12, 1986. And when we showed the documentary, it was July 12th, 2026, the 40th year anniversary. Stephen McDonald died 10 years ago. And this week was a special event. The NYPD this week officially named the Police Academy the NYPD Stephen D. McDonald Police Academy. Well, Susan Birnbaum, you go first.
Okay. Hi, John. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We had the opportunity to help fund this film, and I met with Mary Murphy, and John, I came to you and asked you to also support this film, and that's because we felt it was important because the New York City Police Foundation's focus has always been on supporting the men and women of the NYPD and helping ensure they have the tools and the training and the resources they need to keep New York City safe. Detective McDonald's life embodies these values. His message of compassion, forgiveness, and community engagement reflect the ideals of the foundation. And we felt it was important that the next generation of officers could learn about Stephen McDonald's life. And so when Mary Murphy came to me and Scott Monroe from the DEA came to me and said, can you help us with this film? We were proud to help support it. And John, also thank you for also giving us some funding to help support this film.
Well, it was a pleasure to do that because WABC and myself, we always support the New York Police Foundation, the Police Athletic League, and all NYPD in general. And with us today also is Mary Murphy, who did the documentary film. Would you say a few things?
Yes. First of all, John, thank you very much for the donation you made earlier this year because that allowed us to actually edit the film and buy some of the historical footage that we needed to really make it a complete documentary. And Susan is the one who really started the ball rolling for us because I was working with Erin Mulvey, who's a retired federal agent from the Drug Enforcement Administration. I knew that to make a documentary, it's more than just writing it and directing it. You have a whole host of other duties, and that included fundraising. So Erin and I went to Susan, we went to Scott Monroe, and we went to private individuals. And we were able to do this in phases. We started 2 years ago, actually, on this project. I was a young reporter, 27 years old in 1986. Stephen was 29. And when he was shot, it was just heartbreaking. I mean, he's paralyzed from the neck down. His young wife is pregnant, about to have a baby a few months later. And his story always stayed with me. So when Stephen died 30 and a half years later, I knew he had lived a remarkable life. But I didn't feel enough of us really knew about that life and the struggles that he went through on a day-to-day basis. So I thought a film was warranted. And if it wasn't for you and all those individuals, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
Understood. Now, there was also a bigger event this week besides the documentary last week. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
The event with the screening, we had a private screening, or are you talking about the dedication of the Police Academy?
I'm talking about we had the private screening, I believe, last week, and this week you had the dedication of the Police Academy.
Yes, so we wanted to thank the people who had donated and the people that appeared in the film. So we arranged to have a private screening at Marymount School of New York, and the people could give feedback if they felt we needed to address certain areas of the film that could be tighter. And it was a very, very good screening. Wonderful response from the people there. Very emotional film. But we also cover a lot of history. That's really what the goal was, to show that, Stephen not only helped people by speaking at precincts about tactical safety on the job, but he spoke to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of school children over those 30 and a half years that he spent in the chair. And he changed a lot of lives. He went overseas. He traveled to Northern Ireland multiple times in the late 90s after the Good Friday Peace Accord was announced. And, he tried to bridge the gap between the Catholics and the Protestants. He went there a week after a terror bombing that killed 29 civilians and 2 unborn babies. And he just felt it was the right thing to do. So the screening was important. We got feedback on the film, but now the goal is to address the feedback, but also to get the distribution. His story should be heard.
I agree with you 100%. Susan Birnbaum, were you there too when they had the dedication of the dedication?
Yes, I was at the screening, and I was also at yesterday's naming of the NYPD Police Academy after Detective McDonald. Commissioner Tisch renamed the academy and put up new signage outside, which was unveiled. His son, Connor, who's a member of the service, and his widow, Patty Ann McDonald, shared their story yesterday with recruits, former police commissioners, and former drivers of Stevens, and with many members of the NYPD, including the mayor. And they want every recruit who comes into that building to know the story of the life of Stephen McDonald as he spent 30 years in a wheelchair, forgiving the shooter and forgiving going around the world sharing his message.
Well, thank you, Susan Birnbaum, and thank you, Mary Murphy. And when do you think this this documentary is going to be able to be seen by the rest of the world?
What we're doing is we are submitting to film festivals, and the hope is that if it gets into a film festival, a distributor might see it and want to get it around the world. We want a global audience to see this. So that's what we're doing right now. We also have a website which gives a lot of background on Stephen and his life, and that's trinityfilmsnyc.com.
Say it again, trinityfilmsnyc.com?
Yes. Trinity was Stephen's favorite book, so we named our little company after him because we needed to have an entity that could create a website and get the word out about Stephen's life.
Well, thank you so much for both of you coming on. Susan Birnbaum, the New York Police Foundation, does wonderful work. And Mary Murphy, it's good to meet you again. And thank you for doing what you did. And we'll catch up again real soon.
Thank you very much for everything, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.